Welcome to the collapse experiment. Today, I'm going to call this one the Ballad of Tracy Twyman. Twyman, yeah, Twyman. Odd last name. Definitely an interesting character. So this was a writer, a researcher. She wrote several books on the occult, secret societies, their practices, and she died back in 2019. I first heard about this a couple days ago. Was not familiar with her, and I came across her name. I believe it was a video shared on Twitter by BX. If you're not familiar with BX, you should go check out her stuff. BX on X is actually her Twitter handle. Another fascinating person. But Tracy. Why do I call this the Ballad of Tracy Twyman? Well, it's because I've been listening to some of her old recordings that she did, obviously, before she died. Some of her later ones. One in particular was over 2 hours. She was describing some of the stuff she was experiencing online. Some of it sounded very familiar. Then there's the last one that she did, which I think was more along the lines of like maybe 30 minutes, where she was talking about some of the harassment and how she was like dropping everything and stuff was too dangerous, and she had more things to do where she could actually be productive, I guess you could say. Because this is a woman that she was finding stuff online, and she was contacting the authorities, and they really didn't want to have anything to do with it. Sounds familiar? So anyways, why am I bringing this up? Well, like I said, a lot of the stuff that she was talking about in some of these videos sounded very familiar. And some of it, and to be honest, I experienced a lot of what she was discussing. I was doing some research a few months ago, particularly on some things that I had seen, and once I found what it is I had seen online, clicked on a link and it took me to a website for a company that mass-produced certain equipment. And as soon as I got onto their website, a screen popped up. There was stuff flashing in the background, and it said, "This computer is engaging in illegal activity." And it just kept repeating, and I'm sitting there like, okay, this has happened before. Let me explain. So anyways, I get out of that. I Control-Alt-Delete. I select the thing that had popped up. I get rid of that, and I continue on my way, because I just figured, well, somebody is watching what I'm doing and trying to scare me, and well, I don't really give a shit. So then the previous time that this happened was actually in college. So this was 20 plus years ago, and I went to the computer lab. Now granted, this is all a completely different situation, but it goes to show that 20 years later, this kind of thing is even easier, more possible than it was then. So I go to the computer lab, I'm sitting there, I'm writing this paper for a class I was taking, and this guy that I knew at the time was working in the computer lab. He was one of the techs, and he sees me come in, and I sign off on a computer. I sit down. About 5 minutes in, while I'm working on this paper, all of a sudden the screen goes blank, and this thing pops up. It has these flashing red lights. There's a siren going off from my computer, and it says, "Hey everybody, I'm looking at gay porno. Hey everybody." And it just kept repeating, and I'm sitting there like, what the hell is this? And I turn around and he's laughing his ass off. Because apparently it was some website, some web page that he had made so that he could put it on other people's computers as a joke. And it was pretty funny. I could see where somebody might be mortified at that happening. And granted, I was getting there was a lot of looks. It was kind of like, oh, what the is he doing over there? And so I know that this thing is possible. And obviously that was pretty much what had happened a few months ago in that situation. But it was completely different. It wasn't one of these hacker situations where they get your IP address, they pop this thing on the screen and say like, hey, we're Microsoft, and by the way, if you turn off your computer, you're going to lose all of your data. You need to call this number now and give us all your personal information. No, it wasn't one of those scams. It was flat out saying like, we don't want you here. So apparently she had dealt with some stuff like that. She also said that there were other things happening where she would click on links to things and it wouldn't take her where she wanted to go. She was seeing like alternate versions of articles and stuff. I know some of that's possible too. And a few years ago, I was being interviewed. I wrote about this on my Substack. So many damn websites. So yeah, I wrote about it on my Substack where I was interviewed for a website. It was supposed to be like a prepper, patriot type website, which I didn't really give a shit. They were wanting to ask about one of my books. Long story short, I went to go check this out. They sent me a link to the website. It was a fake website. They had articles and stuff. Most of the links worked, but it went to very generic previous articles from like sometimes months prior, but it was on the home page. And it was slapped together. I mean, it was purposely designed to look like something that fucking Patriot Front would put out, right? And then, after I did the interview, I was curious, and a few weeks later, I still had that link. I went back to that website. Same bullshit. Same exact, like my interview wasn't on there. There was no videos. There was the same lame-ass articles. And it was like a year later, I became curious again because I still hadn't heard anything about my interview being posted or shared or anything. They didn't even have their own YouTube channel. Another big red flag. And the website didn't exist anymore. So, anyways, a lot of the stuff that she had been experiencing, like I said, I have experienced. I've been through a lot of that. Maybe, for me, it was spread over time. Sounds like hers was like really compacted into a short period of time. And I think she also underestimated people's abilities to change, because she was talking about friends that she had known for years, and then all of a sudden they're saying things that she never thought that they would have said. And She realized that, well, she said two things. Either one, they're bots, so like the programming had changed or something, and two, it wasn't really them that she was talking to. It sounded like them and she thought it was them, but in reality somebody else had hacked their accounts to mess with her. I had a friend up until like a year or so ago, knew this guy for well over a decade, and granted, so this stuff with Tracy was happening like 2019, right? So before COVID, before a lot of the shit that we're seeing today. But for me, a lot of the stuff COVID related, a lot of the behaviors and stuff, I started seeing that in 2018, 2019. And so like a year before COVID, I'm seeing this crap happening. And you know, this stuff, this weird, the woke cult, the media, how it influences people, I saw that for myself. Somebody who I always knew to be open-minded, traditional liberal, right? More of like a centrist, or at least that's what he was still claiming last time we talked. This guy was full on Trump derangement syndrome, and to the point where this person that he had known, who had done several things for him in the past when he needed a friend to be there, all of a sudden I'm just a walking pile of human trash. So I don't know, I think maybe she underestimated the fact that people can change, because I sure as hell didn't expect it from this guy. And you know, I can dwell on it and let it get to me, but you know, if that's how he wants to live his life, and what he wants to say and do, that's on him. Like I said, I know what I did for him in the past, and I know what our friendship was. So I mean, if he can't acknowledge that, that's on him. So yeah, overall, I don't know what exactly happened to Tracy. There was a lot going on. Honestly, there's not much at the moment that I can find on it. I don't know exactly what she was researching. I mean, I know the topic, but I know it's tied into another guy who died like 3 months before she did. She was found hanging in her garage. It was ruled a suicide. You know, there's always red flags when that happens, especially when somebody is researching certain topics. And, you know, a lot of her followers and readers immediately speculated that, yeah, she did not do that to herself. Something else happened, but nobody really knows. So, anyways, I'm still looking for, like, I don't know, a blog, something that tells the story of, like, how she went from writing books about secret societies to researching the pedogate type crap that seems to be infiltrating everything these days, even P. Daddy Diddler. I don't know. I don't know what to think at the moment. Even she states that a lot of the stuff she was saying sounds schizo. That, you know, if she went to go see a doctor or something, that they would, you know, probably diagnose her as like schizophrenic or paranoid schizophrenic, you know. somewhere along those lines. Guess we'll never know now. Plus, she was, God, so she was 40 when she died. She was only a year older than me. And for women, that is really late to develop schizophrenia. Usually, when women develop it, it's like in their late teens, early 20s. They tend to be super hot. Guys don't know the difference. They procreate before it's diagnosed. Next thing you know, there's already another generation of crazy women running around. So, yeah, can you tell I'm kind of familiar with this subject? So anyways, I don't know if I want to believe it was that. I mean, was she just stalked to the point where it was like, I'm miserable, I just want to like have this be, I don't know. I have no idea. But I really wouldn't rule out the other option too. So if anybody has any places that I can check out, websites, like I said, I only found one podcast on the subject so far, which is crazy. It seems like podcasts are disappearing just like YouTube videos. So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like, I understand what this chick was going through, kind of been there myself. Something's off. Something's definitely off with that story. Keep on typing.